Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Morning Gardener. I had a trying day today. Really, I have. It has been. Um, First, went to work. Almost got stuck there because the person didn't come in on time, and finally got off driving
Tired
home,
of cleaning your gutters? We'll clean your gutters,
and
realign, and seal them from leaks.
I'm headed home. And the car decides to start to um, idle rough, and then it simply died in the middle of traffic. And so I stayed cool, cut on my four ways, tried to restart, and it would start for a couple of seconds and then it would go back out. Um, I had no power, steering, brakes, all that, no, nothing. And so I got it over to the side of the road and tried to crank it again. After a few minutes went by, I think I opened the hood. I got out and opened the hood. And once I did that, the car cranked up. And I got home and it was still idling rough. It was still idling rough. So I got on YouTube, I tried a couple of things. I changed the PVC valve out. And I don't know if that helped, but no, it didn't help really because I tried it and it still was doing the same thing. But I took the throttle body. You got to pay attention to your throttle body. I took the hose off of the throttle body. It's that big hose that runs down the center of your engine. I took that off, one single clamp that holds it on, and I sprayed it down with throttle body cleaner. Took some towels and wiped it out real good. And once I did that, I was I was I was just in business. And then I also cleaned out the idle control valve. Took it apart, two screws, and some kind of O-ring. Once I did that, I got everything running, and I was on my way. And I took it out just now. Right now, I just came back from testing it out, so I know what I got before I go to work tomorrow. And what I did was I got in the car, drove the car, got up to 40 miles an hour to get everything back adjusted because now I got to clean parts and the computer has to reset. And now everything is reset and it's working pretty good. Actually, I was better than it did when I bought the car. Um, but got home, it's got a lot of more pep to it and everything. And so I got home. So I didn't stop in to go and get anything dealing with things for my garden because I didn't want to. I just didn't feel like doing it today. I got up and I got my car straightened out, and now it's nighttime. It's actually 5:11, and I was going to go to karaoke, but that's what I'm saying, because there's nobody there really, and you just singing to an empty room with chairs. You just in the room, hello, 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 hello. It's just nobody there. So it's good to sing full of room full of people who are listening, because you can get a bad group where everyone's talking their heads off. They don't care whether they hear you or not. Um, yeah, so that's what happened. But I'm doing good. I'm going to go down this evening and just have some fun counting and looking through my seeds. Um, because it's almost there. Let's see what day's date is, the 22nd, January, February. So we got about another month. And then around February, I start getting some of my items put together um, for for me to get things up and running. So I mean, it's almost there, folks. I'm absolutely excited. But all this garlic that I'm growing in here, I'm looking at it now. It's 12. Wait a minute, I'll show it to you. It's 12. It's 12 inches tall almost. It's a good thing I checked this because it's a little too much water in here. It's like a jungle in here. Hey, you know. And this is from and folks. This is 79 cents. Something a little something to do in the wintertime. Some garlic. All you do is you take the garlic, put it in a little shallow bowl with some water. About 3 days later, it roots out. Then you put it in a pot like you would pot a plant, and you don't bury it that deep, maybe 2 inches, 3 inches deep, and it starts growing all these beautiful chives. And these right here, you can cut up. You can put them in food. You can, you know, and they smell like garlic because they are garlic. And so you take a knife and dice those up, put them in soups and stews and things like that, and you got a winner. You absolutely have a winner. And that's what I like about them. You know, you could be creative and you could do the same thing with onions as well. Like if you say you got a few really small onions, you really don't want to, really do anything with the onions. You could do this here. You could do this here with the onions. The same thing. You could do the same thing. Um, yeah, I mean they're doing good. I love it. This has been the Morning Gardener. Yes, just doing my thing. And went out there because my cow manure is out there just in the back of the yard and everything, and I just put it out there and let it sit. And morning gardener check that. I counted the bags. There's still 15 bags out there. Um, oh, ah, so that's where we are right now, and we're doing a good thing here, folks. We're doing a good thing. I really like this. Let's see something here. Okay, let's see. Yeah, but I'm actually having a good time with the garden, even though I'm not in full swing right now. I'm still getting everything together. Hey, thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Mm, yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you. But I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my thing. The garden is exciting, and like I said, I'm gonna do something with the seeds today. I'm gonna look through my seeds and see what's going on because um, that's what I want to do. Get everything rolling. So when I get ready to welcome, welcome, and that's what I'm supposed to say. Welcome. Okay. Uh, yeah, but I'm just right now thinking of hey, hey. That's what I always say to people. Hey, um, I mean really, I think I'm gonna do more tomatoes than I'm gonna do 8 plants this year. 8 plants, but that means I'm gonna put about 12, 13 plants in. Because I tell people always grow more than what you actually need if you're going to do seedlings. Do more. Because if you have a situation where some die, or some bug kill them, or some disease kill them, you still have some more plants. But you can't start over and get that time back because the year is counting in. If you have a real short growing season, like I do here in Zone 7B, you will find out that we have about 3 months, and if that. Um, so what I'm thinking of is always do more cucumber plants. Now last year I did uh, mm, I think I did three, four, and it was okay. It was all right, but I had them all mixed up. I had some Japanese cucumbers. They didn't do too good. They just didn't do good. So, I mean, I'm not gonna mess with them too tough, but I mean, I'll put them in there and try to grow them, but they're not gonna be my main focus. Um, but the ones that did very well, I can't remember the name of, but it was a birthless type of cucumber, and they did very well. Their plants were strong and sturdy. Try to save some of the seeds from your plants because you wind up getting creating your own strand if you keep growing them in your soil and handling the way you handle them. They'll actually start growing better for you as you save those seeds. Um, and peppers. I love the banana peppers. I'm always going whenever I get a sub or something at the store. I always ask for extra banana peppers. I always ask for those, and so I think I might do that as well. Yeah, and let's see. Okra is a definite. That is part of my garden. I think I'm gonna do about probably 12 or 15 plants of that. Um, Plant the biggest seeds that I have, and make certain that you put them in a very sunny spot and keep them watered. You have to water them a little bit more when they're younger, but when they get older, you don't have to water them as much as you did when they were younger. Um, their roots are bigger, so they can pull in more water when they get older. Um, but the tomatoes, a lot of people cage their tomatoes, put them up in cages. I just don't do that. I mean, it's sad, but I take them and let them sprawl all over the ground. That's what I do, and they do just as good as if somebody was tying theirs up. Because if you look at the big farmers, some of them tie theirs up, and some of them don't. They don't. They just go and get the tomatoes and do what they got to do. When do you plant squash? Okay, you got different kind of squash. You got uh, some types of squash that are more cold hardy, so to speak. They call winter squash, and you got some that's called summer squash. And the summer squash, I like to do them when the temperature starts getting at night around 55, 60 degrees. But I start them indoors. Keep that in mind. I start mine indoors as soon as 12 weeks before the last frost. 12 weeks before the last frost, I get my plants started. Tomatoes, squash, watermelon, all that stuff is rolling. Um, and the trickiest part is to not let them get too big because it's hard handling them when they get big like that. They're all over the place and blocking the door when you got to go out and all that kind of stuff, asking for money. Plants are really, kind of bossy. But the thing about it is I enjoy it, and you get some pretty good size plant. Now imagine taking a tomato plant, putting it outside. It's already 12, 13 inches tall. You're ahead of the game. Your neighbors are going to the stores and buying plants. He's paying $4 a piece for. Um, Vine boards. There are so many different ways to keep vine boards away. Some people use soaps. Some people wrap the very low um, part of the plant with, I think it's like an aluminum foil or something to that effect. They'll do the very low end of it with aluminum foil. They just put a piece of aluminum foil around it. Um, and so that if the bug does cut in, he can't really cut all the way around. But I got to tell you, I back in the day, I had it happen to me when they were cutting beautiful, healthy plants up. And I said, wow, I mean, look at this. And I said, why is this dying? And when I looked down at the bottom of the plant, from right where they cut right where the soil line is, and they go in the stem and they just eat. And then your plant starts to die. But look around on YouTube and see if there's some interesting ways you want to try to protect it. But a lot of them is basically people put poke a matchstick right next to a wooden matchstick right next to it to the vine. So when he's going around eating, he'll stop when he get it's all kind of remedies that people have. But I'm going to say this to you. That happened to me one time. That was about 15 years ago, and I haven't had any trouble from boys since then. And I don't know why, but they have not. I've not lost plants because of them. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before that. It's a great way to go. You can do that. You can do the winter sowing, and I got to tell you, I had some success with it. Excuse me. I had some success with it, and some I didn't. Um, you put the seeds in the jugs. And the great thing about winter sowing is that as soon as the conditions are right, the plants start growing. As soon as the conditions are right. And each seed has a different preference when it comes to temperature, moisture, and all of that. So you can use that method. Um, I did it, and I had much success with a lot of plants, and some I did not. So um, I say use both. Grow some indoors and grow some outside. Seed like spinach is good to do like that. I don't know why, but spinach don't mind being put in a jug and waiting outside. Number one reason, one of the reasons is because spinach is cold hardy. I mean, well, excuse me, a cool weather plant, and it will tolerate when it start getting around February. It'll start growing, and you'll start seeing them in there, and you'll get excited and that sort of thing. But oh, and tomatoes do well that way. Peppers, you could do peppers that way, but I didn't have much success with the peppers. I had more success with the peppers when I did them indoors, under heat mat and under a heat light. I was a shop light. I do not go to the store and get all those fancy $300 and $400 lights. I don't do it. I just don't do it. And I grew everything I wanted with just a shop light that cost me $26. You can get them cheaper than that. Actually, you can actually get them cheaper than that. If you're a handy person, you can get they sell the little cheap ones that you can put together kind of on your own, and you'll be happy as all the way. You'll be happy as a clam, so to speak. Happy as a clam. Um, so the the funny thing about when you grow them indoors, you got all these plants in this little sheet pan. You got tomatoes, you got peppers, you got all these other type of plants in there, and you're waiting, and okra or whatever. You're waiting for, and keep in mind, okra is the last plant you want to put in the ground. You want it nice and hot when you put them in the ground. Watermelon, you want it to be down the road when you put them in the ground. Pepper is the same. You want it to be nice and kind of warm, close as close as heck to the last frost when you put them in, because they don't like cold. They don't like it. Even if you got them indoors and you got them in a little drafty area, they really don't like it. And they'll let you know they don't like it by just not showing up. Um, so the thing about it is, when you have the heat mat under your plant, and some people get the thermostats, and that's cool, that's nice if you have that kind of that kind of loot. But everything around your garden, they pretty much marked up. Everything, they got everything marked up. The little trays that you put them in, they $6 almost, and they just plastic. They little cheap little plastic. You can't use them but once or twice, And if you really push it, if you use them twice, um, but they're cheap and like that. So it's not a real big deal. Um, Go ahead and get some good ones, some that you can kind of rinse out with a little bit of water and just a spot of bleach, just a little spot of bleach, and wipe them down real good, clean them up so you don't be carrying bacteria from one plant to the other. Another thing is, make certain that when you deal with putting them on the heat mat, once they poke their heads up out of that soil, take them off the heat mat, keep them on the light. Because if you keep them on that heat mat, they're gonna get just as spindly and lanky as all outdoors. That's what they do. So you don't want that to happen. Some plants you can get away with it with like tomatoes, but you don't want to spindly pepper plants and all that because that's just not a good deal. They lean over the sides of the pot and they break their own neck, so to speak. Had that happen many times, so I don't do it anymore. As soon as they come out of the soil, some people wait until they open up their first set of leaves, not the true leaves, but just the first set of leaves. And thank you for the thumbs up. And once they do that, you simply cut that heat mat off. You cut it off. They don't need it anymore. The heat mat is primarily good for germination, and you take it off of that. Then you let that light do the rest. And you keep that light as close as you possibly can, 2 inches from your plants, 3 inches. I keep mine about 2 inches. And as they grow closer to the light, I just back it up, away from them. And they get a little closer, and I back them up again. And you will see them get those thick, uh, sturdy stems that they have. And that's what you want. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Um, and they'll get those thick, and just like the ones in the store. The one thing I like about the ones in the store is they were grown by professionals that knew what they were doing, gave all the conditions that they know that plant would thrive in. Then you get it home and you try to grow it, and that plant just as soft as it can be. It's soft. Because if you don't give it what it needs, that plant will start dying. And you'll say, oh my goodness. Now, when you take and get it outside and dig your hole and put some fish head, fish guts in there, and put some lime in that hole, and put some dirt over top of about 2 inches of that, and 3-4 inches on top of that. Set the plant on top, and bring all that backfill in. That plant is going to grow, and you can hit it with a little bit of liquid fertilizer until the time it taps down into that what we call it until it taps into that fish guts that fish heads that are in that hole. And I'm gonna tell you something. Fish carries so much, so many different types of nutrients for that plant. You can't get that in a bag. You cannot get it in a bag. You cannot get it in a bag. That's just fact. So that's what you want to do: grow healthy plants, grow strong plants. And the way to do that is to make certain that your soil is very nutritional, because these plants were not bred to thrive in poor soil. They just don't. But that's the way they bred them. They bred them that way. They created them that way. Um, a weed can survive in soil that's almost exhausted of nutrients and bacteria and biology in the soil. But the weeds, they live there. They were born there. No one feeds them. No one waters them. No one cares for them. None of that stuff. They drop their seeds and they do their own deal. They don't even need nobody to dig a hole for their seeds. They just seeds hit the ground and they grow. Now, that's what weeds do. You can pull them out of the ground. You could cover. I always say this on a majority of my shows. You could cover a piece of ground that's put a tarp over it for 18 years. Come back in 18 years, pull that tarp back, and when you pull it back, as soon as the sun hit the ground, the weeds are coming out. Now that's survival for you. You try to do that with any one of your seeds that you buy at Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot, it's not happening because those seeds are weak. They're pretty much weak. And when you take those seeds to make them stronger, is when you go out and water them a little, go out and fertilize them a little. Don't pamper them. Just give them enough so they can survive. And then you get the seeds from those pieces of fruit that you grow, whether it be a tomato or cucumber or be peppers. You do that for the second year. You kind of treat it like it's a weed. Give it enough to just give it a little something to eat, a little bit of water, and let it. That plant is going to get tougher. Is what's going to happen. It's going to become a survivor. Now that will set up your third year where those seeds will be where you can just throw them out the window into the soil, and they'll do their own deal. They'll do their own deal. They don't need you to baby them at that point because you wean them off of being really a weak, vulnerable plant, and that's what you did. So I mean, it's a lot of information out there, and some books that you can find out about how they created these plants. But when they created them, they made them weak. They made them soft. You know. So that's how you know. And so when I go in the garden, I pretty much I don't baby my plants. I just don't. You know, I give them some water. Don't ever overwater your plants. It's like if you were out on a hot summer day and somebody said, "Please, can you give me some water?" and they give you the hose, but they stuck the hose in your mouth and just kept it running, running, running. It will kill you. Plants are the same way. Um, Plants are the same way. They only need a drink. They don't need for you to for you to flood the ground. And I see people do this. When I see people do this, I just look at them and I'm looking at this guy and he's been watering this tree for over 40 minutes and he's got this puddle there and it's puddling up because there's no other room for the water to go anywhere. And I'm just looking at him and I realize he don't know what he's doing. But that's how he learned to water trees. When I go out and water my trees, which is rare because I don't really water my trees, I go over there, stick my finger in the soil up to my knuckle. If there's moisture there, I leave that tree alone. I'm not watering that tree because trees, when you mulch around them, like I do, I mulch around them with pieces of logs, pieces of tree branches. I put that stuff around them, and they last a year, 2 years. I don't mess around because I go in the forest and I look around and I pay attention to how those trees are growing. I look at the logs and sticks on the ground. I look at the leaves. I look at the weeds that are growing underneath the trees. I look at them and I study them. And I look at how big the tree is. I look at how dark green the leaves are. And I look at it. I look at how many dead branches are in the tree, if any. And I look at the branches down below it and realize those big branches fell out of that tree a long time ago. It's self-pruning. It's the ground. Wind blows it loose, it drops it, hits the ground. Nature already figured it out. So the day of the tree is dropping leaves and dropping branches, feeding itself like a cycle. And we go by bags and what's that other thing called? Little stakes you bang in the ground and come on. It just makes me laugh when I go in the store and I see this stuff. And I look at it and I said, they're just making money off people who don't know. Um, because those people, if they even got free wood chips they could put around the tree and it would feed that tree. And that was free. You got a truck will hold about 10,000 pounds and the man will give it to you free because it costs him $50, $60 to go somewhere and dump it. So he don't want to do that. If you say, look, I mean, can you take this to the back of my yard and just dump your truck right up there in that corner? He say, sure. I want to ask you one question. Is your house? Yeah, it's my house. Okay, go ahead. We're going to dump it. I had 20,000 pounds dumped one time. That's 2 truckloads. And the only problem I made was where I had it dumped at. I had to move it because it did look good in the front yard. It did not look good. And it took me 3 weeks to move it. And I could not move it by myself. I had to get 1, 2 people and give away some of it because it was just too much. It was so much wood chips. It was so much that I saw the whole front yard and the driveway and everything disappeared when that second truck came and dumped. Long story short, you put the wood chips around your the underneath of your tree, 6 inches from the trunk, 3 inches to 4 inches deep around the drip line of your tree, or what they call it, the where the longest branches are out, and you put that around under the bottom of that tree, and guess what? You won't have to water it, and you won't have to buy any expensive fertilizer. That'll fertilize your tree right there. it will fertilize your fruit trees right there. You won't need to do anything to it. And but what's going on here is there's so much information out there about gardening, and that's why they're able to make all this money off of us gardeners. Is that they sell us books, they sell us tapes, they sell electronic gadgets. Say this right here is supposed to electronically water the plant every so many hours, and then they tell us the temperature. And they got when you got a sensor you can plug into the ground and sit upstairs on your computer and look at the temperature of the soil, the pH of the soil. How you look at the how much sun it's getting, um, and then a little alarm goes off with letting you know certain days that your tree needs to be watered or was watered, and what the temperature of the soil is, and everything. It tells you everything. It's expensive, but you could actually sit in your house in the wintertime and hit a couple buttons and go, oh, the pH is 7 today. Oh, okay. Oh, soil temperature now is 43 degrees. Oh, okay. Okay. And when you get near time to plant, you'll actually see the temperature of the soil going up, and you can watch it right from your PC or your cell phone. I mean, that's slick. That is slick. Now, all these nice toys are great, but it's no substitute for knowledge. No substitute. You could take a farmer that's been farming for 40 or 50 years, and you can have all the gadgets you want, and he'll outgrow you every year because he'll know what to look for, and the average person don't know. The plants tell you what they need. The plants tell you by you looking at their leaves. You're looking at their leaves, they'll tell you what they need. Yellowing leaves mean one thing. Spots and yellow spots and brown spots on leaves mean something. And then when you look at the leaves, if they're dark, pretty green, it tells you that they got a good supply of nitrogen somewhere. Trees that are growing 15 to 16 inches, in a small amount of time, tell you that you don't need to fertilize this tree because this tree is done tapped into a good food supply somewhere. So that's how that works. But just every day you go out into your yard, whether it be roses, whether it be fruit trees, whether it be fruit bushes, look at the plant. Pay attention to the plant. Look at it. Look at its leaves. Look at its branches, and they'll tell you what kind of condition it's in. I have some blueberries out in the yard now. I looked at them yesterday, and they had the most beautiful burgundy colored branches. Why? Because I put some peat moss around them, 2 inches thick around it. And when it kept raining back and forth, and the biology is taking the peat moss down into the soil, the plants are responding to that because the soil is being acidified, and so that's what's making the plants respond well. I think that when you have a plant that needs an acidic soil, like a blueberry plant, and you get that in the proper balance, because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, it's better to grow blueberries in pots because they don't do too well if you just put them in the ground." That's a person that don't know how to take care of a blueberry plant that's talking like that. Um, um, Fruit trees. Why my fruit trees? Oh, they're not producing. Oh, they won't produce. They're not producing because there's something you're missing. You're missing something, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. But I love it. I love it. I take care of my trees the best I can, and I learn how to. I mean, I used to get my neighbor's grass, and they used to look at me because I know some neighbors that have clean grass. They don't put anything in it, and they see me come over there, and they see me throwing handfuls of grass clippings at the base of those fruit trees. And he said, "What are you doing?" My neighbor looked at me like, "Is this guy all right? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then I would say, "I'm actually feeding my trees." And I said, "I'm mulching to keep the ground cool because it's been getting hot these last couple of days." And he's looking at this and he realizing that I completely flipped out. 2 weeks later, I invite him over to look at the trees. I said, look at the trees. What do you notice? I said, I don't know. Tree. It's a tree. It looks good. I said, look at the leaves. See that dark, 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 dark green? You see it? He said, yeah, these are perfect dark green with a little bit of gloss over the leaf. And I said, that's because of the grass clippings. The grass clippings are very high in nitrogen. And that's what I've been using on these trees. One of the most important things that people talk a lot about when it comes to gardening is nitrogen. But there are a lot of other things that the tree needs, as opposed to just nitrogen. But you got to pay attention to the tree. The tree will grow incredibly well if you just take care of it. This is the Morning Gardening Show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you.